Hello, this is Pamela Davis. Welcome to episode 3 of the Well Done Life podcast. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We made it. I'm so excited to have you here for episode 3. Again, I'm Pamela Davis, and this is the Well Done Life podcast. This podcast is set up for everyone to grow and develop a community of people who realize that we're all experts. We all have a journey to share, and we're here to help each other grow and live our best lives. I'm so excited to be recording this at 9:57 on January the 27th. I had to take a quick look at my calendar because I almost forgot what day it was. And it's been a little bit since I got around to recording the third episode, but I made it. I'm back. Consistency and still in full effect. And I am here to talk about vision board parties, setting your intentions, and Kobe Bryant. So let's kind of get started with the vision board party. That's where I left off. My friend and I did our first vision board party this weekend with 11 lovely ladies on Saturday night. It was amazing. I'm so excited that we were able to connect with such a great group of women and just come together and share and grow. And I tend to be a person who believes in numerology. I believe in energy. I am a sage burning, waist bead, Jesus loving chick. And so I came home after that evening and I went and Googled the number 11 because I was very curious to see what the spiritual representation of that number was. And the number 11 is a master number. This number represents inspiration, illumination, and spiritual enlightenment. So it was just amazing how that number just truly summed up what it was like to connect with those ladies. Everyone was so open and intentional about being able to share their desires to grow and to be vulnerable and to just live a different life going into the next decade, to live a life better and stronger and more aware of where they wanted to go. So I really felt fulfilled coming off of it, and it definitely motivated me to even think about how we can grow this into something better, because vision boards, as I was kind of mentioning in the second episode last week, it's something that I've done. I think it's something that we've all done. And a lot of times, if you're not careful, vision boards can become visual representations of your goal with no actions behind it because you don't hold yourself accountable, you don't look at it enough, you don't focus. So with this vision board party, we really try to be very intentional by having strategic placements based upon different areas of our life. Really looking at how we can hold each other accountable to be able to achieve our goals. Because I know for myself, I need accountability. I need encouragers. I normally encourage myself, but I'm strong enough to say that I need other people in my life who can speak to me when I'm doubting myself and hold me accountable to being able to achieve my goals. So I really feel blessed that we were able to lay a foundation like that going into this next decade. And I definitely look forward to continuing to grow. We're actually looking at probably doing something either quarterly or semi-annually to help the ladies kind of check in and make sure that we are all on our aligned path. Because as I mentioned before, I really feel like time is fleeting, and I'm definitely at a point in my life where I don't want to have meaningless conversations. And I don't want to be in situations where I'm not feeding into my energy, my best self, and I'm not doing vice versa. It's funny, as I was setting up for the vision board party with my friend, I went and bought some magazines because I wanted to make sure I contributed. And one of the best things that summed up the intention, that showed me I was in the right path, was this quote I found in Essence magazine from Halima Aden. And she is a beautiful model. She's actually on the cover of Essence magazine. You should check her out. She has an amazing story. But one of the quotes in it was, "If you receive a blessing, you shouldn't think of it as yours to keep. It's more like a loan, like I got my wish, now I have to pay it forward." Excuse me. And I said, that really showed me the power of what we were looking at doing, because I felt blessed to be able to feel comfortable to have someone that I could connect and share with, and then to be able to, in my friend, and then to be able to have us come together with our friends and look at trying to share that to them. I know that some of those ladies will continue to carry this on and share it with other people, if not all of those ladies, because that's how we grow. When we give the blessings that come to us, when we share, we communicate with each other, that's what helps other people grow, and that's what it's all about. And see, it ties perfectly into the Well Done Life podcast. So I definitely wanted to make sure that I shared that. So I will definitely keep you guys posted. And also, if anyone is interested in doing a vision board, kind of like the one that I did, I'm going to post mine on my social media so you can see an image. By the time you listen to this, you may have to go back a couple of images, but I also would be very open to sending the template that I built so that you can create your own and set them up for other people that you know, if not yourself, because again, it's all about sharing and growing. So I'm really excited about that. And then also, along that line of doing vision boards, I know last time I was reviewing with you guys a little bit SMART goals. And SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound goals that you would set normally in a business space to help you achieve your vision, your business goals. But I was questioning in the last episode, how are you using SMART goals to set your personal goals? Because I know for myself, it's always been a struggle for me to be able to set personal goals. So I wanted to make sure that I clarified that, because I sounded mad crazy on the last episode talking about it, and I apologize. I didn't have all my proper notes to be able to explain them, but I wanted to make sure I went back over them again so that you would have the correct information. So again, SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. So essentially, they're reasonable achievements that you're able to make to grow and build upon your life. And I think you have to be just as smart as you would be in the business setting with your personal life. Because obviously your personal life and your business life at times do overlap. So you want to make sure that you're giving yourself the amount of grace that you would give in an office setting to yourself in a personal setting. You want to make sure that you are taking that same type of mentality and applying it to your personal life. Because if I've learned anything, I've also learned as I've grown in the corporate space, if I'm not happy in my personal life, I'm not going to be happy in my professional life. And you can't just work to work. You have to work for the fulfillment of yourself outside of this job, outside of this work, because you have to exist. You're not your job, and you are more than that. So you want to make sure that you are feeding into those more than that moments. So it's just very important to be strategic in everything that you're doing in reference to how you want to set goals for yourself. So specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-driven goals or time-bound goals make sense not just from a corporate space, but from a professional space as well. So I wanted to make sure I kind of went back through that and gave some insight into that too. To this episode, I kind of also mapped it out to talk about toxic people. I was thinking about that as we were talking about goal setting in episode 2, and just how important it is, because you always hear people talking about I'm getting rid of the toxic people in my life and cutting folks off. I always love those memes. They're hilarious to me, because I always kind of have to think about, if you're sitting here talking about who you're cutting off, what are you doing about yourself? Because I personally always have to think about When I cast a stone at one person, that stone is going to hit me back. So had they sat back and taken a look at themselves and said, "Wow, I'm just as toxic as this other person that I'm trying to cut off." The actual title of this podcast was going to be, "I know you're toxic, but so am I," and talking about how everyone has a season in their life where they're toxic. I don't care what you say. No one is perfect. We have all had our toxic moments. And I know for myself, I was much more toxic when I was younger. Because I think about it, I was so insecure about how I looked, how I felt about myself, that I feel like, or I know, I tried to allow myself to be to make myself into what other people thought I should be in order for me to fit in versus just being myself and owning it. And at times I would be triggered by insecurity, and that would cause me to be toxic. And by being toxic, that means that, again, I wasn't being true to myself, or I would ignore people or cut people off because I was insecure about something that they were doing. And it wasn't always a reflection of them. Now, don't get me wrong, some of those people were toxic. But at the same time, so was I. And I think we all kind of go through a phase of toxicity. So I really wanted to kind of go into that because I think it's so important as you're trying to set the vision for yourself going into this next decade that you take an opportunity to address the toxic behavior that you have within yourself and stop focusing so much on what other people may or may not be doing. Because a lot of times I feel like other people's behavior doesn't necessarily affect us unless we allow it to affect us. And we control who we take in and who we let out. So in most instances, you really have to get clear about who you are and what you want and how you feel about yourself so that you can really get down to the root of what's going on in your friendships or in your relationships. And I had to get clear. I went to counseling. That helped me get clear, as well as growth. I have to admit, getting older, I really started to recognize that I love the person that I am. And I'm 100% in love with me. I am definitely a work in progress, and I'm not perfect by any means, but I'm comfortable enough to know who I am as a woman and as a person, so I don't ever have to worry about feeling uncomfortable around different people. I don't ever have to worry about those insecurities or letting someone else trigger that in me right now because I know who I am. And don't get me wrong, it's a battle. It's a constant battle, but I will say that getting older kind of clarifies that because there does come a point in time where you're just fresh out of fucks, excuse my language, that you finally recognize that you are who you are grateful for who you are, and I'm not living because I want to be who you are. So that's a whole different kind of conversation, and we can definitely get into it. But after hearing about what happened to Kobe Bryant and his daughter, I really felt like I had to shift. And that's kind of what led me to wanting to pod. I was supposed to record last night, but I just couldn't do it because I felt so heavy. And I really couldn't talk about toxic people and toxicity because that's just not where I'm at right now. Yes, that's an important subject, but what's really an important subject is the fact that we lost one of the greatest basketball players of all time. And he wasn't a perfect person, but he loved his family. He gave his best at all times when he played. I have been a Lakers fan for a long time. And growing up, I remember having many conversations with my dad about who was the greatest of all time, Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan, because that's what my era grew up in. And I can tell you that I loved his work ethic. And so I definitely was like, wow, this is something that I want to talk about because I mentioned it here I've mentioned it at my vision board party, and I'm going to mention it again. Because if this isn't the perfect reminder of that, I don't know what is. Time is fleeting. And this is a year going into a decade where we have to dream big. Tomorrow is not promised to anyone. And if we don't dream big or we don't live now, when are we going to live? Because unfortunately, the untimely passing of Kobe Bryant and his daughter and their family friends really shows me time is fleeting and it's time to live. And one thing, if I could say anything as a fan of Kobe Bryant, I would say he lived. I don't think that he was hesitant about anything. I think he lived on his terms, and to be that astute at that young of an age, to know that they have to live fully and completely every day, that is a blessing. Because for myself and probably many other people in this world, we're just figuring it out now in our late 40s that we should be living. And I'm just grateful that God has given more time. But I don't take it for granted to know that that time may not be what I think it is. So that means that I have to live my best life right now. And I say that not to wish anything on anyone, but I think we have to use this moment for what it is. It's a wake-up call. It's a reminder how blessed we are that we get up every day, that we got a chance to hug and kiss the ones that we love today, that we got a chance to come home today because somebody didn't get that chance, and how we have to take these moments, these culture shocking moments, to recognize we need to really take this opportunity to live our best life completely and just tell people that you love them. Remove any negative thoughts from our being. Just be open and honest about who we are and what we want to accomplish, and we need to go for it, because it's better to have tried and failed than to have never tried at all. And for someone like Kobe Bryant, that's how he lived his life, and that is just such a blessing. I haven't read his book, The Mamba Mentality, and I tried to order it on Amazon, but the book is already sold out. So I'm probably going to have to do what I normally do. I'm a big Audible person. I would totally recommend checking out Audible because I'm sure it's probably on there. I'll have to check. But what I wanted to do was try to get some insight for you guys into the Mamba mentality. So I looked it up, and in the book, he introduces 5 key emotions of the Mamba mentality. The Mamba mentality is comprised of honesty, detachment, optimism, passion, and fearlessness. The Mamba mentality is a mindset, for constant self-improvement and the pursuit of your highest potential in life. Now, isn't it funny that we're all sitting here talking about goal setting? And this man's life is based on continuously goal setting and living fully and completely. It's just, again, the universe just gives you so many different intentions, so many things to think about. And I just feel like, again, this is a reminder. Unfortunately, this tragedy is an opportunity for us to really cling close to the people that we love, focus on the things that matter, and really, really put into action what we want to accomplish in our life. Because tomorrow is not promised. We have to be grateful for today. I am heartbroken for his family. I cannot even deem to imagine what they're going through, but I know that I'm praying for them. The world is praying for them. It's just so unfortunate how these tragedies, these culture shifting tragedies keep happening. But I pray that as things evolve and change in this world, that we take something from them, that we do something better and different so that we can continue to grow and evolve our society. So I really wanted to make sure that I touched on that, because it's more than talking about the fact that that man was an amazing athlete. Let's talk about the way he lived. Let's emulate that type of mentality to want to grow, to want to live our best life, to be passionate, and take this opportunity to really think about the fact again, time is now. Time is fleeting. And that we have to live right now because every day is not promised, but we are setting the foundation for this decade and we need to grow and continue to evolve in it. So I definitely wanted to take a moment to acknowledge him and talk about him. And I'm sure I will talk about him again more as I get into the remainder of these episodes. But I just wanted to make sure that I kind of tied it all back because it really all goes together in regards to setting our goals and being intentional. That's what this year is about. That's what this decade about. And that's what this podcast is about. We're sharing our journeys together so that we can be intentional and lift each other up to help us all live our best lives. So I just wanted to kind of make sure that I brought this all together again. I definitely will go back to toxic people at some other time, probably in the next episode. My head will be a little bit clearer and we can talk about, how the growth process is to maybe not being toxic anymore and how we can just kind of align ourselves more intentionally with the right people, but at the same time making sure that we're right from within because you can't win if you're not right with it from within, as the great Ms. Lauryn Hill would say. So just want to kind of wrap that up. It's all about vision. It's all about growth. It's all about healing internally and externally so that we can be the best that we can be with other people. I hope you all have an amazing rest of the week. I'll definitely be back soon. I look forward to talking to you again. In the meantime, please don't hesitate to reach out to me by email. You can reach out to me at 2chicks and 1 old lady at gmail.com. You can hit me up on Twitter at I am Pamela L. Davis. You can hit me on Instagram at Pamela L. Davis. Or you can hit me on Facebook at Pamela Davis. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day or evening or whenever you're listening to this. And I look forward to talking to you again really soon. Bye-bye.